In this audio recording, I want to explain why people leave you once you become successful. Now, a lot of people think that those people that leave you once you become successful, whether it's financial success or a success in your singing career or a success that now you're publishing your own books, there are going to be people that are going to leave you. They are going to disappear from you. They will block your phone number, they will block you on social media, or they will begin to avoid you. They will disappear from you once you become successful. A lot of people think those people are just haters, just jealous, or they're envious. And there are times that's the case. But I want to put this in perspective for you. Why people leave you once you become successful. And it's not what you think. You're thinking about haters or people jealous or understand the following. Once you have more influence, you are going to face resistance against that influence. And that resistance, 99% of the time, will turn violent. And that violent resistance, people are going to get hurt by it. Now, when you, the target, is not available for people to look for a fight, if you're not available for them to look for a fight, they are going to look around you who's near you. And the ones near you are now becoming targets. Okay, let me give an illustration, a common one that happens out there. You have this Brian. Brian is a guy, he's so-called from the streets. He thinks he's a thug. He has Tupac and those gangster rappers as his example. And this Brian, he likes to write. He likes to write poetry. He likes to write short stories. During his upbringing, people were thinking, man, Brian, you are a writer, forget about it. First of all, look at your skin color. You're never going to be accepted in that world. Secondly, man, people couldn't see him as a successful writer. They thought that guy is dreaming. Even the people on the streets they hang out with thought he was dreaming and all of that. Brian one time began to help a cousin that sold crack. Now, Brian wasn't proud of it, but Brian thought, okay, I need some extra money. I have a job, but I don't earn it much, so Brian helped his cousin out. And after a while, his cousin told him, Brian, enough. I don't want you helping me anymore. I want you out of this. Because the cousin cared about Brian's well being, so the cousin told him, Brian, enough. Here you have $2,000. Now back off. So Brian now had around $3,000 that he gained by helping his cousin, including the 2,000 the cousin gave to him for him to stop. So Brian kept the money, and about 2 years later, people began to notice that Brian was on radio shows talking about a book. And then some friends began, well, people he hang out began to ask him, Brian, I heard you on the radio. Were you invited to give your opinion? Oh, yeah, I was there to talk about my book. And they tell him, what? You wrote a book? Then Brian picks a copy out of his bag and shows them, this is my short novel. And they're thinking, are you serious, man? You wrote your own novel? Yeah, it's being sold on Amazon and Barnes& and Nobles. People buy it online. I already have around 100 copies sold. Now, first off, those people that hang out with them are happy for them because they're cool with Brian. There's no jealousy, no hate, any of that. Also, his parents were happy for him. His parents already knew that he was doing it. Then one day, there was a party in the neighborhood. Brian was there. And suddenly, there were people that saw Brian and decided to leave the party. And Brian thought, why are those people looking weird at me like that? After the party, about 5 years later, Brian's parents told him to leave the house. Brian was only 19. And Brian was thinking, what? I have to leave the house. Where am I going to stay? His parents told Brian, leave this neighborhood. So Brian had only $500 in his pocket left. He called our former classmate of his who was studying at a university, and the classmate told him, you know what, Brian, I'm going to enroll you as a bachelor student. Within 2 months, you can begin in college. Meanwhile, come at my student dorm. You can stay here, and then afterwards, you have your own room. And that's how Brian got involved in college. Now, when Brian was at college, he be, he noticed that a lot of his people he used to know in his neighborhood began to delete him from Facebook. Some people even blocked him. And when he began to message him, asked him why, they wouldn't answer. So Brian was thinking, what the heck is going on here? One day, Brian secretly returned back to his neighborhood. He had a wig, he had the glasses on, he put on makeup and a fake long beard, so people thought he was just an old man walking around. But one individual recognized him, which was a girl he used to, he not really date, but he used to have a crush on her. And the girl asked him, Brian, what the heck are you doing here? And then Brian said, Susie, well, how did you recognize me? Susie said, of course I recognize you, Brian, the way you walk. We used to have a so-called date for about 2 weeks. I know how you walk, man. And then Brian said, okay, but Susie, why are you so upset? Then Susie told him, Brian, people don't really want you here. Then Brian asked her, what did I do? Okay, I helped my cousin with drugs for a while, but a lot of people here often sell drugs once in a while in the streets. What's going on? Susie told her, when Michael is that guy that can't stand your father. They used to be friends in their youth, but they separated. When Michael heard that you wrote a book, that you even gave shows on the radio, he lost it. And not only he, a lot of people, his sons, his relatives also lost it. And this Michael began to talk dirty about you and all of that. And you know what? People didn't want to deal with Michael's negativity, so just appeased Mike by agreeing with Michael. However, shortly afterwards, there were gangsters around that noticed the rage of this Michael, and those gangsters were on good terms with Michael. And so those gangsters saw your success as the cause for Michael's distress. So those gangsters now decided that they wanted to deal with you. So when you were at a party once, when people saw you at the party, they left because they thought, man, things are going to get rough soon. There were some ex-prisoners, ex-convicts around that heard that some of those gangsters wanted to do something to you, and some of those ex-convicts got in a fight on your behalf to keep those gangsters in check. But then there were gangsters that went to your job and threatened your boss to tell you where you were. Even some of your friends, they were not threatened with any weapons, but they were stalked because those gangsters wanted to know where you are. Because they wanted to take their frustration out on you. Because they blamed you for the distress of Michael. They didn't care that it wasn't your fault. They thought if you would just have remained a poor Afro-American guy with dreams that could never come true, people would have been at ease. But now because you've become successful, people now resisting your success because you are the only one of this neighborhood at this age that wrote his own novel and was now reaching an audience. Most of the people around here, they don't care about reaching anything. They just want to survive and continue as usual. Your success disrupted their darkness. So now they want to retaliate against you. That's why your parents told you to leave. They didn't tell you to leave because they hate you or they because you did anything wrong, then they wanted you to leave because they knew that your life was in danger. And many people deleted you from Facebook because they didn't want to be associated with you so that the violence would not leak out to them. It's then that Brian understood everything. Brian was told by Susie to leave as soon as possible, and Brian did. Now look, about the story. What did Brian do wrong? Brian did nothing wrong. He didn't. Brian had no cocky attitude. Brian wasn't thinking he has become something and everyone else are losers. He had none of that. Nevertheless, his success disrupted the mediocrity and the cowardice of others because most of the people around him, they were so frightened of what others may think of them. So many people did not try to excel, they just wanted to appease others so that others would leave them alone. They wanted to be so-called respectful. Now here's the thing, Brian didn't care about respect enough that Brian thought, this is my life, I'm living it, I have the opportunity, I'm taking the opportunity. Because if I let the opportunity go, it will all be on me. And Brian did not want to live with regret of how things might have been. So Brian took the chances and he became a writer. And his novels were not bestsellers, but his novels were in circulation. He was on radio shows talking about it. Now, the people that rejoiced with Brian later turned on Brian when they noticed what came along with Brian's success. So understand the following. There are going to be people that will disappear from you. Literally, they will disappear from you. One day, you're thinking, oh, where is Dylan or where is Francis? I haven't spoken to them for about a month. And then you're about to look on Facebook how they are and you can't find them anywhere. And then you realize, how can't I find them anywhere? Did they deactivate Facebook? And you'll figure out that they want nothing to do with you. And of course, you're going to feel pain, you're going to feel hurt, you're going to think, what the heck is this, man? I've been cool with these people. Oh, look, when it comes to success, especially financial success, because people want to be able to spend more without having money issues. I can understand that. But often we don't look at the bigger picture of what comes along with it. Why do you think that many of the so-called rich people in the world, they live in gilded cages? They have their villa or their large house in a neighborhood with other people with large houses. They go to certain bars, cafes, and amusement parks only for people with money. And they also go to holiday destinations, not the holiday destination that everyone else is going to, but they have their selected holiday destinations where they go to, where they only meet people often of the same neighborhood. Why is that? Why are they living so restricted? Because they are not safe if they would go out and walk in the street like everyone else. Understand the following, when you have the ability to spend, it doesn't have to be money. Maybe you have a YouTube channel, or you have a MySpace page, or you have your own e-radio, your online radio, and you can reach people, you can influence people, you can impact people in a certain direction. That's also a form of spending. It's not monetary spending with money, but it is spending. The moment you have the ability to spend, there are going to be people that will become anxious and frightened of your spending ability. Because you can spend. That means that things can happen. And when things happen, there are going to be consequences. And they are in the reach of your influence. That means that your influence will affect them one way or the other. And they don't know when or how you're going to spend. So they can handle the idea that you can spend without them controlling it. And this idea can cause people to lose sleep. And once they lose sleep and they're irritated, they're going to blame you for it. Why? Because they're so insecure and they're so entitled. They feel so entitled to their own will, to their own decisions, to their privacy, that anything that influences them, they want to have it under control. But here's the thing, in reality, you can't control the influences that are around you. You can't. but they don't want to face reality. So when you have an impact, and this impact cannot be controlled by them, neither does your impact match their thinking patterns, they're going to be frightened, they're going to see you as an enemy, and they are going after you. Not all people, like those gangsters in this story, will go after you physically, but they will go after you by spreading bad rumors about you, by lying about you, or by suggesting harm to you, or by accusing you of thinking you're something and all of that. When you have the ability to spend, there are going to be people, and there are not few of them, that will become upset with your ability to spend. Now, if you were one of them and you got an ability to spend and all the spend would go to them, then they wouldn't mind because they control the spending and how it works. But once you have spending ability on your own, man, you are going to face retaliation. And that retaliation can also end up in homicide. And remember, when they can't find you and they're so desperate to leak out their negative energy, anyone near you is also a target. So don't think it's strange that once you reach success in any area that there are people going to disappear from you. And believers, when you are delivered and you walk in victory, especially then you will have people leaving you. Don't let it frighten you. Be at peace.